Okay, it's 432. So it's 234. And just be prepared. This is definitely one of those buckle up. It's going to be all over the place because my mind is so scattered right now. It's so full of so many different things. And so I feel like it's just going to be all over the place. But first off, let's talk about this luscious stuff. It was being so, I'm telling you, this was, I felt like a burn. And then I kept thinking, because I can't see very good. And so when the hairs are growing back in, it's hard to tell when they're falling out and when they're growing in, honestly. I swear to God. And so they're so white. They don't come back in dark. Even though my hair looks darker in this, my hair is dirty blonde. I always think on here it makes it look kind of more brown, but in normal light, it's more blondish color. And I don't think that I don't know. I think the gray, the white is starting to, it's expanding. It's expanding so much. But I like it. It's so funny too. It's the daughter who isn't speaking to me. I feel she gave me my signature look. Like she's the one who told me, because I used to color this, because it used to not be very much. It was like all the rest of my hair was one color, and I had this little bit like this that was white, or turning white, or whatever, silvery color or whatever. And so then I used to color it. I used to get streaks in my hair, foil done, so it would have streaks, so it would have more color. But it's weird because when I stopped doing that, it was like, your hair has natural color like that. It has natural things. And those, like, you go out in the sun and stuff, and it will change your hair in different kind of tones. Like if you don't have very much tone in your hair, it's probably that you don't go out in the sun enough, but the sun will draw out the different tones. But anyways, there's so much about what we're supposed to be in the sun. And even when we were at our healthiest, I saw this thing and it was talking about that's when they started sunblock, because people were all outside and people were fit, people had tans, like we all looked real good, because it was back in the 60s and 70s. It was very good looking. And in the 80s, it started getting more out of control. Everything started getting more out of control. Food, partying, sex, drugs, it all just went a certain direction. And, you could see, like when you were back there, you could see things going and you could try and tell people, but it was like mindless. And, it was like it had to happen. It was a part of humanity. It was a part of the story. It was a part of the universe experiencing. And so it had to happen. And all of us souls who came in to play parts in it, it's micro, macro. You have to see, like, it's beneficial to you. That's why you're here. But it's not just beneficial to you. It's beneficial to everything and everyone, because it's like keeps the whole body going. So as the soul, when you understand about you as the soul, as the cell, as the participant in the whole thing, you take your role as, like, the part you play is important, but you got to tune into your part, not try and play somebody else's part. That's where, this is just like a transformation. Just as time has been transformation, it has been transforming people this whole time. We're talking about it because we're becoming more aware of it, and we're becoming more participating in our own growth. It's not just these things happening and we're mindlessly participating. Now we are coming into a conscious state of mind that we are the drivers of the story. We are creating. We are the creators of the story. We're participating. But it is like, and I don't know when this changes into this 5D concept of this higher minded, like where everybody is living in this, connection to their soul. Like It's going to be a different experience, very different experience when people are living from a higher state of consciousness and living through their soul than what we're living. Like that is this kind of separation. It's the ones that came in to experience that, and not just experience it, but to experience the transformation. And then, so the people who, because there's lots of people going to be leaving, but everybody's got to realize, like, it's hard. It's so hard. You know, loss is hard, but the reason we have loss is to appreciate time that we have with somebody, like that we have to go through them. We've been such in a not evolved. It was like devolving because we were so self-consumed in this raw kind of victim way of a wounded you sitting there like, you know, keep away, you know, just beat down, just so, the visual is like you know, like in Scrooge or something, when they show like those really poor street people, they just had nothing. Like, these people have been doing this to people for so long, you know, but it's been a huge learning cycles. So in this, so crazy because I will think I might be talking about something else, like my mind will be getting so flooded, and then I'll just start opening my mouth and all this other stuff starts coming in. It's like, well, I had no idea this is what we're going to talk about. So anyways, I have no idea what, we'll go with it. So anyways, when the souls right now is like in this time, and this is standing out so much to me, is the darkness, the energy of the pull, the dry, man, what word? It's hard for me to think of a word, but it is like the allure. That's the best representation. The allure of the darkness, and it has such a pull on people, especially if they are in the dark in themselves, and if they're, and imagine that a lot of the people who are super down, they have a lot of dark attachment, a lot of heaviness, a lot of dark, a big dark cloud around them. And so it's hard to see out of that cloud sometimes, you know? Yeah, so, man, I'm going to start crying. Because I can always feel, it's like I get hit with what it feels like. And it's always for they know not what they do. It's such an important thing that I think that we all really need to keep in the forefront of our minds, especially when dealing with people, because they're in a cloud. They can't see. They can't think. They're so consumed with parasites. So they, and on the inside too, that's the thing about poverty is, they can really load you up with a lot of rotten food. They can make you sluggish. They can make your organs not working right. Oh, fuck. So when you see those videos of all those people going in those stores, you know, like this whole thing of like an energy, like the blob, like an energetic containment almost. It's got these people. It is like this darkness. It's like they're all feeding off of it, but it feels comfortable. And then you get told, because the dark energy knows how to fuck with your head. The light energy tells you how to make change, how to make things better. The dark energy tells you why you deserve this or that. And it can make you have a good story. It can make things like, yeah, see, they're on my side. That's what I'm talking about. They always make you feel like they're on your side. You're doing the right thing. And that's why you got to really get control of this. It's so crazy. I just heard a spiritual person, the same one who was telling people, if you're not manifesting, change your diet, said he just realized that there was some talking in his head. And so the voice of God has come in and is talking directly to him. That's where all these people, like, that is the problem. Oh my God. All these people who go straight up into, like, they just woke up. Well, I'm going to start a channel. I'm going to, a lot, like I even played with the tarot cards and I did some tarot readings and stuff. When I was going through all of it's like the same thing as the QHHT, but it's under a different copyright name because Dolores Cannon's daughter took that and they just started another one, because if you wanted to start theirs, you had to pay them to be a part of their names. So they started another one called BHQ. And it's the same thing. It's the healing modality for going into past lives to heal trauma and pains that you're feeling, diagnoses, symptoms, all that kind of stuff. Any kind of medical things that you're having in this life, to go into a hypnotic state, go back to past lives to see why you're having it so you can heal it. And they're super cool. Those are the things like that I talk about, like when Allison Coe will talk about the things that people have talked about in hers. Or Dolores Cannon wrote bunches of books. Allison Coe was going on and talking about it on YouTube. And she was explaining what people were talking, or she would just tell you what the conversation was. And there was so many back there in 2016. I'm sure there's so many now. Like, I just miss it so much. It's like I get so excited when she puts one on because they were so good. And it was giving so much stuff. Like when you go in and listen to these, it's just like channelers. And the thing is with like a remote viewer, like a channeler, you're not going to find a channeler that's not spiritual. A remote viewer, obviously, you can find a remote viewer that is not spiritual, that they think it's all this science stuff. So it is, but the people who are doing the QHHT and stuff, it's all about this healing and going into past lives. But when people go back, they start saying all sorts of stuff. Well, all sorts of people were talking about this time. All sorts of people, like everybody's past lives were having to do with this time, and she was talking about it. So there's so much interesting stuff, and it went so much with all of my understanding about, the age of Aquarius, where we were headed and stuff. But it gave more, like, insight, and so I loved them. But then when the event, because she was saying that people kept talking about the event in the sun flash, and it was just going and going and going. People kept talking about. So and it got down to where there was a date, and there was other people talking about it. Like there was a lot of spiritual drama back in 2016 too. People think like, oh, this has just started. No, that is when it seems to have taken on in a trend. Like it got trendy to be spiritual. Like, that's so cool. Like, where religion is so, oh my God. But then spiritual is like, oh, so cool. But it's just a label. It's just like the preference in what you wear. It's like, I eat meat, I don't eat meat. I hunt, I don't, it's like, it's ridiculous. Because it's just the 3D concept of it. And people are comfortable with it. It's like, but they're not, they're not that comfortable with their souls yet. Like they're not really in tune yet. And so all of this drama went on, and she got so attacked because the event didn't happen. People freaked out. She was so attacked. I couldn't believe it. But since then, she had even been on one of David Wilcock's documentaries, but that could have been filmed around the same time. But she was super popular. And in the same with, I can't think of her name, Anna Weinberg or something like that. She puts a lot out on, but I liked Allison Coe's questions. I felt like she would ask a lot of questions that I would ask. And some of the other people I find, I listen to them and I'll become frustrated because I don't like their questions that they ask. That's why I could not keep watching the mediums talk to Eric. The one who I liked hers because she was spiritual. So she asked questions that were good, but I don't know what happened. But hers just all of a sudden was gone. And then the other one, channeling Eric, hers is still going. But she was science. I don't like her questions. I don't like her whole, but maybe she's gotten better and grown more. But anyways, but everybody, we need all the different things. We don't need everything that just speaks to me. We need, as I hear all sorts of people speaking, and they're all speaking to all different people. And there's a whole purpose to this part of the awakening where these people go straight up ass into ego, think they're the world's saviors and stuff like that. And I've seen these other girls, because you get the pull towards your spirit and stuff. And like I said, I was going and doing those classes. I knew I was supposed to do something. I just wasn't sure. But I would start doing it. Like I was doing Candace. I swear I thought her name was Candace Owens. But it's Candace. But anyways, it's in the QHH. She's the one who is the BHQ person. Oh, hold on. I swear, I've got to turn off the lights and lock the door. It's what time is it now? 4:38. It's so dark. It's like 3 hours before it's even going to be light. Now, I don't know. I just get creeped out, feeling like that they've dropped people off everywhere that are just out there looking to cause us trouble, and it just kind of creeps me out. Like I get this, like a vision in the old movies, and you're out there, and then this wanderer comes walking up, hey ma'am, or the black-eyed kids. That one, I was listening to a story about that again the other day. Is when I don't want the black-eyed kids, like they come fucking knocking at your door. Do not open the door. Don't help them. Don't do anything. I think they have sharp razor teeth. I think they're creepiest book. So anyways, so I was, I felt that same pull, but I was already spiritually awake. But there's something happening in the universe, and it was pulling to, and I lost my job and my brain injury and all that stuff. I lost my license. I lost everything. And so I was like, I don't know, it was like a renewed me or something. I've been doing healing, and I just felt so drawn to the spiritual side of things. Like, I don't even know. Because before, like, I was always spiritual. I'd always talk about reincarnation and aliens and stuff. And people would just think I was just weird. And, and then just so many times, like, where I'd be like, well, they tell me who. Like, I thought everybody had a conversation inside their minds. It just weirds me out now. Like, I go back to, like, conversations or something, and it's just like, oh my God, I was living so different than other people, and I had no idea. And so I was living different, but, I just thought I was different. I was the kid in school who, I was making F's. I just zoned out. I didn't know where I was in class. It was just, the teacher would start talking, and I would go into a hypnotic state, I guess, and just leave the room. I'd be gone. And then the bell would ring, and I would be back in class, and I'd be like, what in the hell is going on? And then I would just get called daydreamer and stuff like that. So it just has been, like I said, I think, a lot of 3-year-olds aren't sitting there having moral conversations with beings out and in their heads, and having conversations over good and evil, or bad and good, or where we came from, why we're here, what we're doing here and stuff. So, I was living different. But then when the spiritual thing happened, it was just like, because there was a change in the energy, just like there was a change from the 70s to 80s, where it went from, guys with long hair and bell bottoms and low cut pants. What were those things? Hip huggers, bell bottoms, like in long hair, and people smoking weed and doing LSD, and everybody just loving everybody, and and healthy, like on these videos where it shows all these people out just doing push-ups on the beach and sitting there, like, where things were fun. They weren't manipulative. I think they were more honest and more open, and more silly. It was like a 50s movie compared to like fucking the James Spader movie, that era, like in the 80s and 90s, that whole thing, like there was the really fun like beach parties, and then it went into this dark, like we're just all drug addicts and who cares about life? Let's just all fuck each other. Like it's just is like, oh my God. It was such a change. And they just kept taking it darker and darker. And people were like, yeah, the dark is good. And so people just got darker and darker. And then there's just so much darkness. And it's just revealing so much of itself, especially in heavily condensed places where there's been so much pain and trauma, generation after generation, and just this hold on poverty and all of that. That's like a giant dark cloud of energy, a darkness that holds on because there's so many people feeding the darkness in the general area. They know how to do that. That's why they create ghettos. They keep this condensed area. They keep people contained in it to keep them down. That's why the people always feel like, well, you just can't get out of this. It takes such it takes such a strong spirit to push through. It's just like this changing vibration, just like how we're changing the vibration and the micro macro now of this whole planetary system, this whole containment system where we're breaking free of our containment. It is the same thing. It's a cloud you can't see, but you can feel. So trying to break through out of that energy of the inner city into a place of hope is very difficult. It holds you. It holds you in here. And so it takes such a strong mind, such a strong spirit, a strong mind to break through. And that's why there's been so many people who have come in and do it. See, that is what this whole thing is about. Or these people, oh, we're chosen or something. No, there's just people that had to come in to bust through, to show, the leaders, to show this can be done, this can be done. And for a long while, it made the people who couldn't do it, then it just seemed like, make fun of the people who can, fuck them. And, but now see this transition that's happening on the planet, see, this is going to be more vacuumous. It's more pulling, just like you can't, you're being pulled. And, God, sometimes the visuals are so fucking cool. They are like a crazy ass movie playing in your head. But yeah, the vacuum is pulling, and some people are able to go with the flow, and then other people are spinning out of control. They're just going all over the place, and they're being pulled, but they don't have any idea what's going on. And but so it has to do kind of like, it has to do, because it's so about micro and macro, because it has to do inside of you, but it is so complex because of the whole thing about the part you play through the experience. And it is such a distortion over the real idea of you. You are not this. This is separate from you. What was that too? Yes, that was a spiritual person. And they were saying something about your body and your soul, but something about, anyways, the way that they were explaining it, I was like, to me, I mean, I can see what they're saying, but because to them it seems that your body has all the control, which I guess apparently they're right, because look at all these people who are not controlled by their soul. But see, your soul has all, it's your soul. It's like you're not giving the power to the right person in the relationship. Like in this union, the wrong person's in control, because it is you're being driven by your impulses, by your emotions, by your hormones, by everything that's out of control and out of balance, and your body is controlling you. And so, you know, like I said, like this is a part where I don't understand, because I don't understand how people, because mine was always so loud. But that's, you know, that's why I know I'm here to play a part. I'm here to talk about it. But that's where there's always this part where I don't know how the mind works when it doesn't have all of this going. Like, I know that there's a lot going. I can tell you the different players up here, the best of my understanding. But to understand how each person has gotten themselves so far away from listening to their inner voice in their gut, and the you know, that is the part, like, I don't know how, like, there's lots of people out there though talking, and they're all talking in lots of different layers. And that is the cool thing, is that when you are on that journey, you know, call it the algorithm, call it what you want, I call it the universe, they'll bring you the things you need to hear, so that and it can be one little snippet, but they want to use that. You know, it's like pin that, put a little paper hook on that, you know, and then it's going to come back in an explanation for whatever questions you're asking. You may not even be aware that you're even asking questions. Like, you know, I don't know what's going on in everybody's head. Maybe they just mindlessly go around and don't even ask themselves anything ever. I don't know. I have no idea. I just know that, you know, you know, there's a few things that I feel like I know for sure. That, you know, there's destiny. And to spend your life trying to control destiny is like to spend your life trying to make sure water doesn't run downhill. It is like, it doesn't make any sense. You know, like, why would you even, but I think that the whole thing is why people don't understand that. Like, I think once people understand more from the spiritual concept, and once there isn't more of these people just misleading people, getting them to focus on crystals and what they eat, then once you really start getting into, you know, more depth of yourself, then and then plus, like, I swear to God, everything just stays in this shallow way of doing things, of looking at things or something. And you know, I feel like I'm all over the place already. Like, it's like we've come into a giant cavern. There's a lot going on here. And everyone now is like going down, you know, is going further into something. Okay, so the mind and the soul. So yeah, your body is obviously very powerful on the drive. Like, autopilot is a lot more, it is very, that setting of autopilot in your being, it can do a lot of stuff without you thinking, without you doing or participating. Hold on, I gotta move my foot. My leg is going to sleep. I am having, that's the thing too. I think, you know, and all these things, when we're seeing the other side of it, because like the smoking weed. And I know there's lots of people who have smoked weed for a long time and knew that there was benefits, but there was a lot of people who smoked weed. And I don't know, you know, they were smoking it for something, you know, I don't know. A lot of people used it for anxiety. And so anxiety or whatever. I mean, I know there's a lot of people who used it for pain and stuff, but anyways, now I feel like it's more going in that direction to be used more, not just to make you just feel good, but it's actually used for its benefits of what it can do for the body. And so sometimes I'll think, okay, well, I'm going to take a break. I'm not gonna smoke for a couple days. I'm gonna clear up my lungs and stuff, which I really feel like probably that it all goes together. Like I think that the coughing is probably keeping me alive because of how much they are putting on us. All these different chemicals. I forgot I didn't ever finish talking about my hair. But anyways, I guess all these allergens and stuff, and my nose dripping all the time, the sneezing. The sneezing, though, I can feel these things moving around, whatever the fuck is in my face, which I think is some sort of neobot things. It's some sort of microscopic dust stuff they're putting out, and I don't know if they want it to all come together. Like maybe these things are trying to come together and the mucus is containing them, so it's like they can't move around very good because the mucus is we do need like mucosa through our body. It has a purpose, and just like our hair sebum mucosa, I swear to God, it's a mucosa too. It is necessary too. I think it's like a conductor or something on our hair, and it's a protector for sure, and it protects our scalp and stuff like that, but and keeps like the toxins out, just as like these hairs and snot and stuff is supposed to keep the stuff from going in. But I mean, we trim our nose hairs, we don't go around with our nose hairs hanging out, keeping the fucking neobots. So they can set a trend. Like if the trend was everybody had hairy noses, we'd all be like, hell yeah, get that nose hair out. But they don't want that. No, they want girls taking all their hair off, which is a little prepubescent for me, but is all the hair off and stuff. But I think it is, I'm sure that there's a purpose that you got a lot of hair in certain areas. There's a reason. It's to keep things from going in, I think. So anyways, because of mucosa and stuff. So whatever all this space dust stuff that they're dropping on us with all these little things, if they're trying to use a frequency to make these things go together, because that is something that is the stuff that they've been putting in all these different stuff, is something to try and take us over, just how they've been able to make us sick without us knowing it. That just trips me out, because we should, they're so fucking tricky. These people are so fucking smart. They've been studying us for so fucking long. And they know us, I mean, they've created some of us. Like some of us are fucking lab grown. So, I don't know. It's mental. But anyways, we're at this spiritual time though. That is this changing. Like all these times had their period. Yeah, it was like the 80s and 90s. Like you picture that time. It's very, and the perms too. Like, because it went from in the 60s and 70s, everybody just had long, straight hair. And all of the people whose hair grew out, they had big, huge hair. Everybody's hair was long. Everybody was like laid back. Everybody was into ESP and telekinesis and telepathy. Like it was, people talked about aliens all the time. Like we were so much awakening at that time. And it must be why they had to go in such a dark direction, get everybody to fry their hair off and make it a trend to change your hair completely in color, consistency. And I did a lot of perms on my hair. I did a lot of damage to my hair over time. And then they did... and then all the makeup, just, hide your face. We went from all natural faces to all very made up faces. And where girls, you make up your face and then you take off your makeup, all of a sudden you feel like you just look plain. Like, oh my God, I look so plain. So they want their makeup on. So it becomes dependent. You start losing, you start feeling insecure about your own looks because you're not comfortable with them anymore. And so then you start wearing makeup. See how they turned things, and then they turned it away from it, was then became toxic. And it was that was a bad thing with my husbands that I had with those girls, because all of those husbands were uh, I was always thin. I was always very tall compared to the other girls. And so, it felt weird. I felt weird. Like when I sit down next to the girls, I wanted to be smaller too. I don't want to just, you know. So I always was conscious of how I ate. I've always been conscious of that. And that doesn't mean I ate good. There was a few years all I ate was ice cream. Yeah, it was years all I ate was like fucking chips and salsa. So it's not like, I was some great healthy eater, but I've always maintained, I haven't ever had any extreme weight gains, like where people have gone through like extreme weight gains and then come back. Like so many people have gone through that. I mean, it was just the way they would tell me things. I just knew things. They would tell me things. And so I was, more aware of things than was acceptable by some people. And so I would get called anorexic. I feel like I wish I would stop liking food. I like really junky food too. But I would be called... stuff like that, where they started turning society into, it was toxic to take care of yourself. It was toxic to focus on you. And so I became like this toxic person. They've been able to do this throughout time. Just like I suddenly became a racist in 2020. I became toxic. And then it became toxic. When you're constantly being questioned, you're constantly, well, you need to eat 3 meals a day, stuff like that. It was, I started having struggles. I started losing myself. And so, that was, but it's always the journey back to self. Even if you lose yourself over time, over years, it's for you to get to see, like, so I can look straight back and go, oh, yeah. And I see exactly how I lost myself. I started listening to other people. I started feeling like what they were thinking and saying was right. And I always was losing myself. It took a long time to find myself. I was always, but that didn't make me go off my beliefs. I didn't mean because people laughed at me over reincarnation and religion isn't real and that God isn't the real God and all this stuff that I would say to people. Adam and Eve's not true. All this stuff I would say. Aliens are everywhere. Bigfoot is out there. All this stuff. Because even I knew Bigfoot was able to move multidimensionally. I knew he could be seen or not seen. I didn't understand all the things, but I would understand little bits of things. But then more and more always comes together throughout, especially if you're on a journey to understanding something. They will bring you the information. So funny too, because yesterday I was having this conversation with my daughter about something I don't remember. And she said something. And so then I went on TikTok for a second. I thought, because yesterday I really did leave my phone down, and my face does not feel like it's burned anymore. So I'm going to keep doing it. I know this is sending out such high waves, and we don't need the added waves on top of all the other waves. So I'm going to really try and keep away from my phone as much as possible. But I do, every few hours get it and look to see comments, because I do enjoy talking to everybody. And, but, anyways, okay, let me think. Because now I feel like I'm just skipping around the room. Okay, so, one thing is, is I am seeing more tarot card. Like I saw this big tarot reader yesterday, and she's like, I'm not going to be doing it. I feel like I've got to do more. And that is the thing, is like, I do think that there is a lot of tarot readers who were really becoming super in contact with their spirit. Like they were really being in contact with, the other side in their communication and stuff. So I think there's a lot of tarot readers who are really tuning into that side of things. And but then there's some, now are being led, like, I mean, you can see these girls don't get like tarot. They're not using it right. All these people like go in, I'm claiming it, claiming this, claiming that. It's like, if you're not doing anything in it, if you're not doing the things, if you're not, like we're sitting there saying, oh, you've had an account for a long time, you've been working on it for a long time, you've been, it goes through very specific details. And then you just see people go in claiming it. How do you claim something like that? Like, maybe there's a shit ton of people. Like, I'll check the numbers sometimes. I'll think, okay, well, there must be like 1,000 new YouTube channels that have come up with a bunch of people talking about spiritual shit and talking about their pain and trauma from life in general, of how, how to heal, how to get better, how to turn things into your favor. There must be a whole lot of them, and we're going to see them soon. But so that is a part of some of these people's awakening, just as there's so many of these spiritual people. Like the one guy, did I even say what he had said? Oh yeah, because he was, no, because that was a different one. I can't think of what he said, but there's a lot of spiritual people out there who are trying to teach, but they haven't learned. They're just in the process of learning themselves. And then they're kind of distracting themselves even from learning, because they feel that they're chosen and they're projecting, so that they need to encapsulate in their experience, because it feels, it's kind of like that thing where somebody goes in to kill a whole restaurant because they don't want to go out by themselves. So they go, I'm going to take everybody with me. So it's kind of like that. It's like a scary experience. I'm going to take a lot of people with me. And so, they feel so sure that everything that they know is right. Oh, that's what it was. Because he said something about, it was like a for sure fact. This is a for sure thing. And I was just like, this is so haywire on this spiritual teaching. And I sure the hell hope, like, I don't know how I'm coming across to everybody. Like, I can't, it's impossible, especially when you go and start putting yourself out for mass consumption. It's impossible to understand how everyone is going to perceive and take me in. And so I don't, and I can't get caught up in it, because it's each personal experience for each person. And so I know my intention and my overall, I sure the hell hope I'm not trying to tell anybody, you definitely have to do this, you definitely have to do that, or something. I don't know. There's something, it's about you having to figure you out. Like there's a whole, it's like going into a candy store and everything is full, and you got to figure out which you get one choice. No, let's not give it one, because that's where people get so fucked up in this world. You get one life. This is it. Oh man, my legs are going to sleep. Yeah, because I didn't ever finish saying about the weed thing either. Because to me, the weed thing is, I smoke it for pain, and I'll get up and I'll think, okay, well, I'm not gonna smoke today. I'm gonna clear up this coughing, and then I'll get up and I can't move and stuff, and it's like, oh, it's not a good day to stop smoking. I was like, here we come. And so then I'll sit there and think, like, God, am I just weak? Am I not being able to do it? But my guidance is definitely not bad. It's like, it's way more of, it isn't going to tell you. It's just going to constantly give you other things to pull your balance. It's just so you keep getting all these more information to balance yourself. So it's not going to say, no, you're doing wrong, you shouldn't do that. No, there is no shouldn't, wouldn't, or anything. except for when it comes to things like that they do to kids. It's an overtaking of somebody weaker, and people do it over animals and stuff like that. Like, people are doing it all the time, but that is in soul world. You're not, your energy. You're not supposed to be taking over somebody else's, in directing or leading them or something. I just saw a bad one too. There's so many. Oh my God, there's so many bad things. Fuck, see, I need to stay off of it anyways. I was fucking bawling this morning. So many. But is one of them, and it's gonna keep being wacky shit. I keep saying, just really crazy shit. This the cop footage thing, cop camera thing, and he goes up to write a ticket to this kid who doesn't even have he's still in the preliminary license or whatever, where you're supposed to have, I think, an adult with you, and you're only allowed to drive in certain hours. And so he pulls over this car. It's like going 100 miles an hour, running lights. It's almost hitting people. He pulls it over, and it's a real sweet kid and a girl, and they're on a date, and they're both, like, apologetic. Well, we're just, we're just rushing to get home. We were so excited and stuff on this first date. Very young. I mean, the kid, he must be like 16 or 17, and it could be 18. I don't know all the different licensing laws in all the different places, but they're young. And so he cuts him his slack on the tickets. He only gives him 3 tickets. Doesn't even give him one for the speeding. Fuck, that speeding ticket would have been like $1,000. And he didn't give him one for that. He gave him a couple other tickets and then gave him a talking to. And so I think that was at like 2:12 in the morning. No, was it in the morning? Yeah, it was dark. So it was like 2:12 in the morning. So he's going, so it was probably a homeless person he almost hit on a bike, which, bikes out at night anyways is dangerous as fuck. But he was driving super crazy, running red lights and going 100 miles an hour down this one street. And so anyways, that was at 2:12 in that cop camera. Then it goes off, and then at 2:14, it gives me chills. At 2:14, he gets another call, and he goes just down the street, and the kid was going 125, hit into a 18-wheeler. I guess both of them were dead. It said fatal car accident. All these truckers and shit were out running, and the guy was freaking out. The cop, whose camera came, very different than that Seattle cop. Like, this guy genuinely seemed disturbed. He genuinely seemed very upset. Like, what the fuck? And he was telling everybody's got to back up. This is, I don't remember if he called it a crime scene. But it's just, man, 2 minutes before, the footage of sitting there talking to these 2 young people out on a date. And it's so tragic and so sad, but on the soul side, you can see. But that's why I say, like, fuck, some of these people with their goddamn drama of leaving. It's like, fuck, you guys are intense, man. Like, the most crazy stories, nonstop. And I don't know how we're supposed to not be affected by how sad some of this shit is. What was that? Because there was another one. I mean, I'm just disgusted by the Seattle cop anyways, and he's not even, but there's stuff coming in, like everything. There's going to be no getting away from anything. Like, all these people who are out teaching spiritual stuff who don't know, it's all going to really blow up in their faces, but it's a part of their journey. It's a part of, like, they're supposed to experience that, and it's going to be on all different levels. some will just feel humiliated, and some will have more public humiliation. Um, and yeah, if you haven't noticed, like some of these accounts, like patriot accounts and stuff, how their anger, like the people who are in these big groups, like I would say the ones that call themselves patriots, they're getting more and more steamed. They're getting, they've got a cloud. They've created a cloud over themselves, and they're feeding that, the immigration thing. Yeah, this is crazy. This is out of control. And yeah, it's scary. Yeah, they're bringing in all these criminals and shit. Yeah, I'm gonna turn off my porch light. I'm not gonna be welcoming. I'm gonna have my can of bug spray. I actually, the other day, I had my little bottle of vinegar I use for my hair sitting on the table. I thought that would burn the shit out of your eyes if you got sprayed in it. So Sammy came to the door fucking around, just spraying with the vinegar in the eyes. Anyways, just come up with weird things like that. But, all this stuff is scary. There is scary stuff happening, but that is where you, as a spiritual being, has to keep in contact with your spirit, or your spirit team, however you see it. And, and they'll tell you everything is okay. You're fine. You're here for this. This isn't by accident. You're going to be fine. But it is a lot scary going up to it. But see, this is a part of what is being witnessed. Like those are part of the conversations and stuff that I'll have with, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm just talking to the watchers. I feel like that there is a whole, like, it's not like a team. It's like a certain vibration of beings that are, council comes to my mind. It's like a council. It's like an oversee group that like watches, and it's like they are formulating, maybe like creation ideas. I don't know. I don't know. But, I don't know what else to call them, but the watchers, like, they're all watching, but they're not mean or angry or judgmental. They're very just cut and dry. Like, they don't have emotions like what we have. And so that's the part I share about, what it feels like, like the emotions. You feel pulled by the emotions. You feel pulled by, so anyways, but you can talk to them too. I mean, anybody can. It's your awareness of the universe, of all the different things going on, and it's so many layers. It's so because it's all these layers based on vibration. Like everything can be in one place and be in different vibrations and have tons and tons of things all in one place, all in a shared space. So the everything is about vibration. Everything is about your vibration is what allows you to move and see. So anyways, the more that you can open your mind, the more that you will see, the more you will understand. But you also have to go approach it as an explorer with an open mind of what is out there. And if you keep hitting into walls, it is your walls that you have built in the structure of this, keeping a paradigm alive. Like to keep it alive, you have to stay contained in it. You can't move out of it. So there's always this containment that is created, and that is the subject of the being controlled by how others see you, and then being willing to be controlled by how others see you. It's a whole it's a multiverse of perspective, of perception. And so it's all about you kind of like when you look through a microscope and you have to keep turning these knobs to get it to where you can see. Just like when you go to the eye doctor and he has to keep turning those things to where you can see. So that is what we're fine tuning for our vision so we can see. And so everything is this fine tuning, but it's like, how big of a picture can you see? Just like where, to me, I've been living through my life with it being very big, like going into houses, knowing there's ghosts, knowing that all nature is communicating, like knowing that everything is alive, knowing that, the animal's soul is as valid as a human soul, like all the souls are souls. And so, and it's all in different states of consciousness. So it's all different states of understanding yourself. But you can see how you have to be so strong to open your mind, especially coming out of this mind trap society that has contained your mind so much through fear and limitations, limiting beliefs. And that all has to do with you opening your mind. And see, I'm trying to show is for someone to be able to see for themselves. I'm not saying that's the only way to be. There's a lot of ways to be. There's lots of states of consciousness. That is the spiritual journey to yourself. Is your soul is in there. What are you? Are you the glove, or are you the thing that's powering it? And that is like where there's so many of these spiritual people that are still living their lives like they are the glove. They look at everything in their perspective, everything how they think, how they acknowledge things is through the glove, through the avatar. And you've got to get your mind, start living through the soul, through the spirit, through the thing that's powering. And that's when you start living better. That's when you start living more peaceful. Just in the mere fact of coming to peace with destiny, not spending your life trying to push the water uphill, allowing the flow of life to happen and to be an equal participant, to see your purpose, to see your point of why you're here. And so that is you opening up to your spirit. And then, opening up in your spirit and opening up in communication, understanding that, you are as if, you take that's always the teapot to me, is because I always see this beautiful teapot. It's real pretty too. And it's one of those that has like the long thing, and it's the blue and white kind of pattern. And it's very, I don't know, it's got a sexy shape. It's got a little roundness, a little edge here. Yeah, it's real cute. And so then it falls and it shatters. And then all of the broken pieces lay there, and they have no idea of what they are, or who they are, or what they're supposed to be doing. It is only when they are all together do they realize that they're a beautiful teapot. Otherwise, they just feel like they're a broken shard of glass. And that is where you have to, through your experience, keep remembering, no, you are a teapot. You're a part of something. You're a part of something big and beautiful. You're not just a little broken piece of glass. You are a cell of an entire complete package. We are all connected too. We all together make up that beautiful teapot. So it's all of us together that gives it its beauty. But in the awakening experience, it is the people who can come into that contact with self. That's the ascension. That is you ascending. That is you. Your soul starts living then. Your soul begins to experience life. Instead of having to be a passenger, it becomes the driver. And so you go in a different direction, where you're not a victim anymore. You see, I have control and I have power. Not only that, they were trying to make me sick. So any sickness that I have is an environmental. It's not who I am. I can heal. I can fix these sicknesses, even if they're hard, even if they're challenging. We've been taught to be defeated easily. Yesterday, this was a good one because I started typing my letter. Man, not being on my phone, I cleaned out the closet, I cooked so much yesterday. Cooked and cooked and cooked, cleaned the closet. I spent a long time trying to type. And so I got my old typewriter out because I had bought this typewriter. It was when I was in the beginning of my spiritual journey, where it was just that became my main focus. And I started journaling and stuff. And it was things were happening so fast, because then I had that, this date that it happened where I got triggered, and it was like, it was crazy. It was like, it went a whole nother level. And I was like, man, this is mental. And so, and that was 11/11/17. But up until then, I was still already on the spiritual thing. I know I was already journaling, because I journaled through mine. And I counted, I think I have 12 journals. I did journal through my all of the first part of it. And I totally recommend it. It helped me. I thought, I haven't gone in and read them, but that was my plan, was to go in and read them and edit them and put together something helpful. And so I'm thinking about that, and, to my guides, confirmation, I said, if I'm supposed to write this story, then I'll see a typewriter. You'll give me a typewriter at the thrift store. And then there was a typewriter. So I got the typewriter. And then, and I bought a bunch of ink things. I got all ready. I've got all my journals, got all paper. And then I was just like, I would get it out, and I was just having problems. And, I'm back in school, in typing class, you can go and go and go. And I wasn't even a fast typer. But when you haven't done it in a while, it's very, oh my gosh, you hit the wrong key constantly. You constantly mess up. And so it's frustrating. And it's not like on a computer where you can go and edit it easy. It's a lot more cumbersome to do it on a typewriter. But I was all into this, like, I'm going to type it out. And I didn't get the old, like, those ones are even harder to find, the really old ones. This is still an electric one. And, but anyways, so I got it out yesterday, and I said, I'm going to type the letter to this, Gary Ross over this house thing. I mean, there's a few different names, but he has signed a bunch of stuff. He's the one name that was put on, taped at the end of my gate. And so I made him the name on the thing. And I should just read the letter. It's not very long, but basically just told him how, from what I feel about it, he's a fall guy, and he seems to not be aware, and that there's a court order. Judge has already deemed debt and mortgages illegal, and that the people who are trying to collect these debts as being criminals, and that there will be consequences, and that it is called crimes against humanity. And I made my demands. I cease and desist, get me off of this vulture list that they've got going with these fucking sharks and vultures that are looking for houses to steal. And I'm sure, boy, when they come and drive by mine and they go so slow, I'm sure they're just cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. It's like, fuck off. Fucking God, these people are just money grubbers. They're just, like grub worms for money. Ugh, money, money, money. It's like, God, you're nasty. And they'll do anything, like maggots. Just give me some money, I don't care. It's like, God, it's so creepy. It's like the value that money has to them. Like, what? Is money going to buy you a way into heaven? I don't think so. It's going to make it a little harder to get there. There's going to be a lot of darkness that's going to come your way. Like, to maneuver through a great fortune is a difficult journey for a soul anyways. For a soul in the journey. is, I mean, it's a journey, just these money hoarders. They get that, but there's so much more going on than just money hoarding. Like, there's a whole component of just selling your soul, just do what you're told in order to, I don't know, have fame, have money. I'm not really sure. It's, man, all this stuff with Oprah and Rock, and how many clips just are all the time with Oprah of old stuff she said and stuff. It's like, oh my God, she's so fucking nasty. I cannot believe that any of us ever looked up to her. It's just like, God, we just did not see. But man, she is such a sellout. I just started seeing so many people like her, especially people who claim to come from, dark poverty communities and stuff, like in the, to, not give back to their communities. Why, when somebody is able to bust free? I mean, I've seen some of these young rappers go back in and like buy all these kids' bikes and stuff. Like, they're actually trying to go in and improve their communities. They're doing it, going in and putting in new schools. They're doing all sorts of stuff. Then you got this one that's like a multi-billionaire or something, and she just holds her money right close to her. And she's always out taking more kids. Like, some of these people, it's like a numbers game. Like, they don't care about anything but how much their worth is. Like, they really think that worth has a value. It's like, the value is how much disgusting crimes you'll do to increase your value. Because that is, she doesn't give back to her community. I mean, even this whole thing in Hawaii, when she claims to be a part of that community, in all that land that's right there next to where all that burned. I mean, if it was my land, I would have already told those people, hey, fucking move in. Start putting up housing. Like, that's what a community does. They step in for each other. And that is not what's going on. And now, because this is all about their corruption and stuff. Now, it's got to be this whole drama. Oh, where did the money go? Oh, they took this money. They got this money. And then Oprah out with her stupid telling us how to be happy and stuff. And just all the absurdity, all of the... But it's such a sign that it's all about to switch, I mean, even with Trump, now they're making it where he can't have any business. They're going to take away all the Trump towers, the Trump this. They're going to take everything away. Because this is what these people have done throughout time to the leadership in all these different countries. It's playing out. Like, this is what they've done to take over Venezuela, to take over Cuba, to take over all these different places, to turn them into third world countries, to go in and control them. That they have done this same game plan. They've rigged elections. They've taken down people. They've corrupted their reputations. And so this is what, we have playing out. And when you see through it, then it's like, oh my God, this is so... But I got to keep in mind that there's a lot of people who, this is a very important part of their awakening. It's a very important part of the move in our society. So it's, it's the full circle, going full circle. And so it has to occur. These things have to play out. We have to go through these experiences. And so then in this part where you have the people who soul, that they're being driven by their soul, that is making that choice. That is directing your energy. Then, but see, all these other people, they're still going to get an opportunity. Even people who are down there, going in giant mass gangs and stealing all this stuff, destroying their communities, being very selfish and not caring about others. And then it works so well to the dark hands of these overlords, because then they just shut things down. I guess now all of a sudden, all of the corporate pharmacies are closing. They're all closing. They're closing down. Rite Aid, Walgreens, and CVS or something. I think all three are closing down. And I don't know all the other ones and all the small ones and stuff, but there's going to start being shortages and stuff because all these corporations are going down. When I've been saying get off the meds and stuff, it's been for real. You got to be getting off this stuff. The corporations are all going down. This isn't going to just be a medicine shortage for this or that. It's all coming to an end. And you just can't get people to get what you're saying. Just like the same thing with the currency. It's coming to an end. And people's hold on these different things is going to become, you know, their burden. You know, the medicine thing. I'm sure they're going to do a lot of stepping down on the medicine thing. But there's going to be some scares. There's going to be, you know, all of a sudden all these pharmacies are closing down. And you got a bunch of people who are dependent where they're supposed to get their medicines. And we're going to, you know, and they're already starting this winter shit. Like, I don't know how far we have to go in this. I saw a thing, I think it was one of these spiritual channels. What was that guy talking about? Oh, no. Yeah, it was a Patriot, I think. Patriot channel. But he was talking about that within 3 days, and this was yesterday. So again, this Friday. So that the the whole thing has already started. The QFS or whatever is already started like it was supposed to. But now we're going through this time where we're going to see it or something. And so, but over the next 3 days, it's going to be super violent and stuff because we're under attack. You know, that's what I've been saying the whole time. Until it switches, we're under attack. They do everything that they can to stop this from happening, but they can't stop it. Especially, it's so ridiculous because it's already in all these other countries. Like, they really think they're going to hold on to America? No, that's what Putin and, I don't know, the Chinese guy, the Korean guy, like all these different leaders are telling them. No, the American people will be free. And, you know, that's the battle, is that these leaders telling these overlords that they're not going to keep us and then keep trying, and that they're, you know, it's kind of like, you know, we're hostages in a bank heist or something, and then they're using some of us as human shields, like, basically. And but that comes right out of Real Guy to, what is that? Free Guy. That is such an accurate depiction of this world. But anyways, but the people, so all of the ones, but I found it interesting how that person, the tarot reader now, and she's like, I just know I'm supposed to do something more than this. You know, and I know there's a lot of people who feel this way. But the thing is I think that this is when it's going to be so necessary. Like, all of us who woke up on this side of the drama, we have it's a different thing. Like, we had different things we were healing and going through and working on. So we were all working on certain things. And that's why we all kind of have similarities. But that is where people like to take similarities and divide. Well, we're all just alike. We're chosen. We all are a bunch of NPCs. And so, but we were the group who woke up on this side of the experience of what is going to happen. So we woke up on that side. There's going to be a whole group that will wake up from it. So they're going to wake up on the other side of it. So when the world flips upside down, which it's going to be flipping right side up, where everything, you know, where it's all been, we've turned and we were in the darkness, but it was such a gradual turn. People didn't realize it. They enjoyed it. It feels good because there's an allure. And so they were enjoying, like, oh yeah, we've all done threesomes. Oh yes, we've all done lots of cocaine. Oh yes, we've all done, which I've never had a threesome, by the way. But everybody, like, you know, adult conversations at parties, everybody's had one. So everybody's done some cocaine. Everybody's done the drugs. Everybody's done all sorts of stuff, you know, that they would have never done before. But, you know, the world turned into this place where morals don't matter. Who cares? Just let's have fun. You know, the Sodom and Gomorrah part. And then, you know, and then it's like the lights come on and we're all at the party and, you know, in all different states of attire and all different states of progress and whatever you're doing. When the lights come on, that's how dirty or you're going to feel. Is that, what energy you've been putting out, you're going to feel it. It's going to feel like you're going to feel dirty. You're going to feel, oh, it's going to be very intense because there's so many people who think they're chosen who are going to feel that part. They're going to feel dirty. They're going to feel exposed. They're going to feel stupid, But you got to be gentle on yourself. Even these people who are out there leading people, on their journey on spirituality as if they are the guru of all spiritual teachings. You got to remember that the people who are following, that's their journey too. They're learning to not be followers. Like it's a group of you learning lessons together. So nobody needs to be hard on anybody else. Everybody should be gentle on everybody. It's all these roles that we're playing and learning together. So, but when this flips, when it flips and it all of a sudden it is like the lights come on and we are in the light, the dark is exposed, which is this, the lights are coming on. It's like they're flickering. It's like it's 1:45 in the morning. You guys aren't staying here. It's time to go home. It's like they're flickering the lights. It's time to go home. And so we're getting this nonstop truths, at the same time, everything is going crazy, which is very scary to people because people don't understand about spirituality. They think this stuff could happen to them any second. Anything could happen any second. That's how, we all feel like this on edge. Oh my God, anything can happen in any second. But nothing can happen unless it's supposed to happen. That's the thing. That's where you got to keep on reminding yourself, like, I'm okay. Nothing can happen that's not supposed to happen. If it's supposed to happen, that's what's supposed to happen. And so when people can get more comfortable in this part, to see that's where so many of us on this side are learning things. Just like, you were raised in an abused household, you learn things. Like this is another atrocious story. It's just like one after another. Ugh. Some school, I don't know, it seems like every fucking thing's going on in Chicago, Michigan, Ohio, California. But this little girl, 7 years old, I don't even know, but her parents now have been arrested. And the teacher has said some of the stuff, like she'd come to school full makeup, nails, heels. She would talk about that her and her mom go and hustle and stuff. Finally, they got somebody to step in, because the first time CPS went, they were just like, oh no, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Oh, the first one was because one of the times when she showed up on the full, high heels, makeup, nails and stuff at 7 years old. And what is that? First or second grade. And I think it's second grade. Could even be third grade, I guess. That she went in to help her or something in the bathroom and saw blood in her pants. Oh, no, it's because she came to school soaked in urine. All of her clothes were soaked in urine, and she smelled so bad. So the teacher took her in to help her change into clothes that didn't smell. And, noticing they were soaked on urine, which is disgusting. Like, oh, these perverts, fucking weird motherfuckers. Because that's the, oh, damn, fucking the allure of the dark. I don't get it. I don't get it. Sorry, I don't get it. But when they went out that time, they said, oh no, everything's fine. And so I don't know what happened this time. So they got busted, the parents. The dad, it looks like, just, he looks, like a skeezy drug addict. He traffics his 7-year-old because he uses it to buy weed. And, I don't know, it's in the court records. And then there's a bunch of stuff that the daughter now has said. And so she would get dropped off at parties. She would all sorts of stuff. They trafficked their 7-year-old. So more and more of these just weird stories, but that is like so many different levels, because that is that group of souls. The little girl isn't really a little girl. She's really a grown person. These souls really go and they're all playing all these different parts, whatever it is they're trying to learn or grow or whatever. You know, I mean, we can't, there's no way that any of us can know any of this stuff. So it's like, it's not our business. It's not our necessity to know what every soul is trying to work out or learn. You know, I can witness some of these things are very intense, very crazy. But then on top of it, it has, you know, in the experience, the parts they're playing, you know, where our society has come to this point of parents just like, but you know, that's one level of it. And we could judge this guy is selling his child, but isn't it the same? All these people exploiting their kids on social media for likes and, you know, sponsors and shit. Like, everybody's selling it out. Like, they all want to sit and point fingers at Hollywood, but that's just what they like to do, is point fingers at people. And I keep thinking somebody's, well, they're better, or they're worse than them. I'm way better than that. I'm way better than that. Everybody's got somebody, you know, like those social media people whoring out their kids. I'm sure they think, oh, this guy, that's horrible. I mean, he's letting people have sex. Well, I mean, you got people who are, you know, beating off on your pictures of your kids. Your kids are being sold around. They've printed out pictures of your kids. They're being sold around the market. And it's so crazy too when you see these AI things, as the filters, you know, just have gotten so crazy, and people just keep jumping on, and getting so excited over these faces that it creates out of your face. It's like, you guys, so when you see that one in a movie playing a part, are you going to be excited? Or are you going to feel like they owe you something? Because they don't owe you anything. You said, hey, yeah, take my image. You participated. It's their unspoken rules, their community, you know, thing. So it's just as wacky, because they're just it's all about this, just stealing your image. And then AI will go in and come up with personalities that will go in and take data off of the internet, and then it will create a persona and stick it in your visual, the visual acuity you created, this vision of that came from your face that the AI turned it into, and then they go in and make a whole personality for it, and then go and do whatever they want. They could have it work in, you know, sex operations, and use your image, and all these different guys, you know, go in. They can use it in the metaverse. I mean, I'm sure Zuck's got his hands in it somewhere, getting all these different images. I mean, he's got to create images. He's got to come up with some faces. So what better way? Half the people just give their face. So anyways, it's, you know, but these are all things that people got to see, but people get so caught up in vanity. You know, well, I want to see, what would I look like if I was young again? What would I look like? I did one of those to see on the young one, to see how accurate it was, to see if it actually looked like me when I was young. And it didn't. I mean, it had some aspects where it looked similar, but, you know, my cheeks were big. I had big cheeks. So, and it wasn't just here. It was like these cheekbones. It was like all of this. It was like a round face. It was like a very cheeky face. And but then, you know, as you get older, all of but my cheeks are still thick. I mean, I still have a lot of thickness in my cheeks. I still bite my cheeks all the time. I used to bite them all the time. Oh my God, I had so many bites in my cheeks. Now I still bite them some, But I think I chew on them all the time too. Like, oh, I'll just chew on it. I don't need gum. I'll just chew on my own cheek. And, I have a lot of things, because if I'm standing somewhere, like my mom and I, like, standing in a restaurant or something, or in a line, and so I'll be standing there and I'll just be, doing this kind of thing, and she'll be like, oh, stop it, you just seem like you've got a nerve problem. It's like, no, I don't feel nervous at all. I'm just it's like I'm a fidgety person. Like I just like my fingers to be doing something. I'm just always like, the whole time while I'm sitting here talking, I'm always like moving. I'm moving my fingers. I'm tapping on my foot. I'm always doing something. It's just as, I don't know. I think it's like some of us just have a certain amount of energy that's inside of us. And then when we stop and we're neutral, it's like, so is it's like my vibration is shaking, like, oh. It's just funny though, because how other people can perceive, and then especially when other people want you to do something different because they think it's a reflection on them somehow. And I don't know, everything is so multi-level, I mean, there is a lot of issues with mom-daughter relationships, parent-child relationships. But, what the whole thing is we're here learning and growing and becoming better, especially in this little time nugget where we are hyper-focused on certain things so that we can grow, we can change it, we can make it better. That's how we create this better society. If, that is more loving and thoughtful and caring and compassionate, and has more drive from its inner knowing of who it is. Like it understands that there is a point, that there is a reason why you're here, and it just changes so much. But in that change, we're going to see a lot of people are going to feel very dirty. And feeling dirty is difficult. Like you can go in and bathe and bathe and bathe, but when it feels dirty on the inside, it's hard. And that's where, so many people don't realize, like, it is in the inside. It's on the inside you're going to feel this pain, this blaring look at yourself is going to be so loud. That's why there's going to be like so much suicide. There's going to be a ton. When this switches, just like when there was all that suicide when the money crashed, I don't know, was it 1912 or something? All these rich guys thought they lost their fortune and all jumped off buildings and shit. It is going to be kind of a similar thing. It's not going to be over the money. It's going to be over it's like an existential crisis of everything that they thought. It is going to be so confusing. Like, I swear to God, I just really don't understand how. This is going to be interesting to see what happens with my mom. I think she's not going to accept it. I think she's going to feel she's being lied to. That the religion is real. That there's all these devils now who have come to take over the planet. They're telling her wrong. Why hasn't she been raptured? That's going to play on her. She's going to feel like, is she a bad person? That she thought she was right by God. That's going to lead to feeling bad about yourself, feeling depressed because God didn't love you. And, I will just keep trying to talk to her, and help her through it, just like all of us. This is the next role. This is the next part, is this very fragile people. There's going to be so many fragile people. As, like I keep saying, there's so many people who think they're awake, but they're not awake yet. They started to wake up and they got caught up in stuff that was going on and got super fearful. Like the patriots are so fearful. They are so sure the world's about to end. We're about to all be taken over. We're all going to be in camps. Like, yeah, all that stuff is out there. All that stuff is happening in some places, but it's a part of the show. It's a part of us to see. Is a part of the, it is like, you can look at it on one level, is that, we're in the museum of the history of mankind. It's just one of the windows. It's just one of the scenes. It's not where we're gonna be. It's like where we were and where we're gonna be is very different. It's a whole nother window. It's not that one. But in this one, where pharmacies closed down, where I've been saying they're going to be getting them blown up too. I wondered if they're closing them down before the violence starts. But a big part of the closing them down is, like, for one thing, control. Like, there's multi-levels. It's about control, but the pharmacies are going down. The pharmaceutical industry is going down. The Western medicine is going down. It's all ending because it was all built on corruption. It was all built on, it wasn't real. It wasn't true. It was just, to get people to not heal themselves and then, get them on something and say it's dangerous to go off of it. Now, you're stuck on it. Doesn't matter what your side effects are. Take more medicine. Take as much medicine as your body will take until you keel over, because your body can't take any more. Just fill it full of chemicals. And then on top of it, they try and pretend like that they don't know anything about all the chemicals in the food. It's mental. But you can see why it all has to go down. Like, it's not a life that could continue. Like, it was always going to, it had to end in that way. It was always going to, because, like when you're digging a hole, it's not going to come out the top. It's going to keep going down. And they have just been digging a hole, and trying to keep us all in it. So when this thing happens, which to me, it's still, it seems like that, and there's so much going with Joe and Hunter, like, it has to be, it's going to be quick. Yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't already. So that guy to say it's definitely happening by the weekend, or this weekend, this is it, that the dollar thing is crashing. The QFS is already in place. They've already, it's already going, but now it's going to be the drama, where the people are going to see. And so that, when that goes, because that has to go under Joe, that is like a for sure thing. They're not going to bring in Trump and then have it crash. No, he's the one who's going to play the savior. He's the savior in the story. Joe is there's an antagonist and a protagonist, or whatever it is. And so there's the two sides. They have to play out in the story. And so the crash, the complete destruction of the America, it has to go under Joe, under his administration. That's what the whole thing was put in for. All of this setting up, all these different storylines throughout his throughout his time, has all been laying the storyline. There's always Trump saying this other side, because the side that Trump is telling is the side that's going to be exposed. They're telling a story, but there's another hidden story. But it's not hidden if you were listening. If you were going past all of the deceit and you were listening, then you could hear the other story. But you had to have an open mind. And there was people who listen to the story, don't even think the story is true still. And it's like, how can you not? Like, what? I don't understand. What is it you are looking for? It's like all playing out. Exactly. So the money thing has to go under Joe. That has to go. And they're so close to taking Joe down. That's why it's got to be so close. When that goes, that is going to turn everything on its axis. Our whole minds. I'm not talking about the whole, that is kind of cool. Because of the pole shift concept in that Hunger Games thing, that this is a clock. And then when you go into the firmament, how they try to make like this clock with time and days and nights and stuff. And if it would be like time starts going the other direction, like that would be the pole shift. But that is going to be it's going to be dramatic like that. It's going to be completely, and that is, for people who don't have awareness, it's going to be so crazy. That's why those of us who are really awake, we are going to, it's going to feel good. It's going to feel good to us. It's going to feel like a relief. I think it's going to be like orgasmic or something, just like this energetic, just just such a relief. It's gonna feel so good. And so that is that's what I think. And so, but there's gonna be so many people are gonna feel so confused. So many people who think they're awake, they're gonna be so confused. So many people who are just asleep, that they're gonna be kind of dazed. They're gonna be just like in a daze. So so when it switches, and there'll still be people in ego, oh, I knew, but things are going to start falling. They're going to start seeing themselves. Things will quickly start becoming intense. And so, and this is the psyche, the mind. This is what I'm talking, this energy of this transference from one reality to another. And so that switching, when the money goes down, that's going to be a blow. The government going down, that's going to be, but the things that are coming out, the things being said is going to flip everything to where all the people are going to suddenly see. And in that flipping, that is where it's going to become hostile. It's going to become violent. It's going to become huge depression. So many people are going to kill themselves. So it's going to be intense. Like that part's going to be intense. And that isn't even counting the storms taking out places. Like I just saw a horrible one. It was Peru. And they have, like I knew that they did their farms on the side of mountains, but these were all houses on the side of the mountain in the water and mud. I don't know if they had a dam open or whatever, but it's all the way at the top of the mountain. Comes down the mountain and then just takes all their houses down with it. And these are like poorer communities, So there's huge amounts of places just being destroyed. And you don't even know like how many people were in their houses. I don't know. I mean, the news isn't telling us all this stuff. You just see these footage. And then on this, the people aren't speaking English. So, they're showing the water coming down and then they all start screaming and stuff when it starts hitting the houses and the houses are going. There's just so much trauma and there's so much sad stuff going on and so many hard things for people to overcome. And it's so overwhelming. It's hard to keep remembering to go to the micro. This is their story. This is their experience. It's all overwhelming when you go to the macro of the whole thing, of it all happening and it just being so chaotic. But in this flipping, that is where people are going to feel very exposed. They're going to see themselves in ways they hadn't seen themselves before. It's going to be, a dramatic experience. And it's like they're setting it up too. Like all the pharmacies are going to close, so we're going to have people who are going to be, detoxing off of meds that haven't weaned off of them. It's going to be so chaotic because, if people would have been, if people like me would have been able to be the ones who were being listened to, then it would have been, people would have been getting prepared, would have been approaching this differently. But, it's got to hit them. It's going to impact them because they weren't preparing. They were paying attention to other things. And that is all a part of their journey and part of their learning and part of their experience, a part of the overall universal experience. So again, nobody's doing anything wrong. It doesn't matter, These people who keep trying to be so judgmental of people who aren't awake yet. It's like they're playing a big part. They're playing a real big part. It's weird. It's like that all these people don't seem to get that there's going to be a dramatic change. There's a dramatic switch. Everybody just keeps thinking we're headed off the cliff, but we're going all of a sudden do a switchback before we go off the cliff. Yeah, there's some people going off the cliff, but we all see them. We're going on, hell no. And there's a switchback. And so we're not going there. But it's like all these different people, like patriots and stuff like that. It's like, I guess you have all these patriots that aren't spiritual. A lot of them are even religious. The religious patriots, you know. So they're they're in this dark cloud of fear, and they're all preparing for civil war and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's an individual thing. Like, I can have the awareness that we are at the edge of that, and know that if shit goes down in my neighborhood, you know, that I better be prepared. If there starts being a fight, like, we can know that anything can happen. It can happen in your neighborhood. It can happen in someone else's. And more than likely, we're all going to hear stories about some horrible stuff. There keeps being horrible stuff. There's what was this one? Was a young girl. Oh, yeah, she was 26. 26-year-old woman who worked out of her home, lived in the city, I think maybe in Chicago or something, and lived in a protected building and stuff. And they don't know how these guys got in. They have no idea. These two guys got in and raped and killed her and left her up on the roof. And she just keeps being like, I don't even know what happened about the woman and her two kids. Like, there's just one after another, these really horrific things. But all these horrific stories all have an impact. There's all reasons for all of these things. It all goes together. And there has to be horrible, impactful, tragic stories. It's a part of it. It's a part of like how dark things had gotten. And it's going to be, you know, that comeback kid story. It's going to be like how far we had gone and how far we're going to come. Because we're going to pull completely out of all of this. Well, the people whose souls come on, but we still have this whole other part that's going to go. But there's going to be tons of people who are going to leave. And as where people got to see, it's not really death. They're not really suffering like that. They're just getting the hell out of this game. Because it's like they were done with it. Their part got done. You know, maybe they would have played a different part, but that was the part that they have. That's the part they came into play. So, and it doesn't matter over the outcome. Like, to us, it can seem like we're going to go through this for years. And to them, you know, they can be sitting and watching. It can be like seconds. And so it's going to be like super quick. Because I'm telling you, you ask your guides, you know, well, when is this going to happen? When is this going to happen? And they're always like, it is happening. You're in the moment. This is happening. And that's why there's no stopping what is happening. It's already in motion. It's in the process. It's already going. And you know, and like they have showed me before, is like when you're way out, the time is bigger. When you go in, we're way in. So we feel every little second of it. But when you're way out, you can see like this is happening now. This is already it's already in the process. There's no stopping it. There's no stopping what's coming. And so the this part, when that happens, that's going to just shock people awake. And then it's going to be through this whole thing is going to be the people who can heal and grow. That's going to be the key. And it's not like, you know, we can't force anybody. It's not like, well, I really want you to come with me and you can force them. No, is those of us who are here to learn and grow, our souls are telling us, and it has to do with the seeding of this new place. It's the creators of this new experience. So, but it's the stories. It's like we're the experiencers. We're the storytellers. We're the ones who bring forth the information from one age to another. And so it's not that anybody is doing it wrong. We just don't need a zillion of them. Everybody has different parts to play. We only need certain ones, but those are going to be the ones that go forward. There's a purpose to it. It isn't all, Harry cares. It's just not all just like, wishy-washy. No, there's an exact point. There's an exact reason. The people who will go forward, there's a certain role they're playing. And that's why so many people feel this importance of what they're doing. They feel it inside, like, this is important what I'm doing. I know that there's something bigger happening here, because your soul, you got to listen to your soul. Your soul's letting you know, because this is that part. So the people who, there's people here for the experience. There's people here to go through all the different aspects of learning. So there's all different things to learn and to grow and evolve during this period of time. And so it isn't like we have more or less. It's not like anybody has more or less. We just all have different roles. We have different parts we play in different times. So we all just play different parts and different roles and different times and stuff like that. And so there's a whole group of people who are going to go through this experience, who have to be willing to work on themselves and grow and look at things differently and expand and lead and help people to see the direction. And then in that group of people, that is the people who are going across the bridge into the age of Aquarius. They're crossing into it by doing the work. And that is like, I feel like it's going to be a revered position. But then there's other people who are coming in other ways, that don't have to go through all of the experiences. And I really think it's going to be a lot of really hard, horrific experiences. I don't think that this is going to be easy in any way. It's, it's traumatic. It's traumatic already. Like, it's fucking horrific. And so it's difficult. It's very difficult. And, and I know a lot of us want to be able to come together and start building communities and stuff. And I know that is going to be a part of it, that is going to be a part of this direction that things are going to go. Right now, it is like we're in the, it's like we're in the grand finale of something ending. And so it's like when we shift into the beginning, like we're still in the ending. When we shift from the ending into the beginning, that's going to be the time where we're going to energetically be in the universal energy of transformation and change of building. That's when it's going to come easily about communities. And I think that a lot of people are already making contacts through these different accounts where people are, coming together and finding community. And then, so when we head into the beginning, it's going to be multi-level, just like how right now we have people in all different advancements, different advancements of the reality of the experience. So we have all different levels. It's going to be like that still when it switches. It's going to be all different levels of awakening and understanding. And so this is going to be the traumatic part. And but there's going to still be, a lot of anger and stuff that's going to go through it. And I've just have felt it the whole time. And every time I see people talking, I really feel like that's going to be the hardest thing for people to get over, is losing family members to sickness. And then when you realize what it's all about, that's going to be the part that's going to really be the most, especially because we're coming from a huge loss right now. So that's going to be the part that's going to be, it's going to bring so much. anger, it's making my whole head hurt. So I can feel the tears. There's so much pain that has to be purged out. And there was such a dependency. People would let themselves die in the hands of a doctor rather than take care of themselves and look outside of the doctor's face for answers. So there's a lot of things that have to be healed and purged in our society. And so it all has purpose. There's a reason for all of these different things. But I feel like that is going to be a really, really hard one for people but we got to go through that experience. So it's not like we're going to go straight on to heaven and earth and we're all walking together. No, there's more to the experience. It's not going to just be the financial crash. It's not going to just be the changing of government. These are all processes of us developing into sovereignty. And so, but we still have a lot of planetary changes and a lot of big things that are going to happen. Like we are going to become just like the other aliens. We're going to grow up and be like the other aliens. We're going to go into our galactic roles. So that whole thing has to go. And all these changes on the planet. So there's a lot that has to happen. That's why you can see why there's going to be a lot of drama. I think, though, that a lot of the changes on the planet is that they're going to be put in places that are safe. So, like if we're all in Montana in a big old giant communities and stuff being built in these safe places, like Montana is not going to feel the impact of what happens in California. Like maybe they'll have like some shakes or something, but anyways, there will be things that will happen on the planet that won't affect us. The parts affecting us right now is while we're in the dark. When we're in the dark and they know what's going on and we don't. Like they know, I think that they have a good idea of when California is going to go into the water. I mean, right now we know it's going to be within now until 2040, somewhere in there, which I think is going to be over. I think it's going to keep being storm after storm. There's going to cause more and more problems. There's going to be some big problems. It's going to cause a lot of people to leave. It's going to be I think California and New York, a lot of these super condensed places where it's like a ton of people, they're going to have some really crazy shit that's going to go on. That's just the way it's going to go. And it's going to seem horrible and extreme to those of us in observation. But we just got to keep reminding ourselves they all came in for this. They're all doing this. This is what they wanted to do. They're all playing out this game. It's hard to imagine, when people are having horrific things happen that they, agreed to it or they designed it or however. But yeah, just the way it is. Even, someone getting eaten by an alligator. I mean, I was eaten. I know Stella ate me a long time ago. And, but it was, the things that you're learning isn't just about being eaten. There's more to the bigger stories, because we've all been eaten. We've all gone through lives where we've killed people, we've been eaten, we've been horrible things. We've all gone through these things. So, it's just that those are still happening. People are still playing some of these horrific things out. I think when we get up to like the age of Aquarius more times, when we get into those kind of lives, we're not going to have horrific things like that. It's going to be, I don't think that we're going to even die. I think that if we die, it would be more of like, hey, everybody, I'm going to leave now. I got to go do a different thing. But I think we're going to have so much available to us. It's not going to just be like how we are here, where we're just kind of trapped in this on Earth. There's going to be so much available, so much open. We're going to be able to travel beyond the ice wall, be able to go to other places and stuff. So I think we're going to be so much more about the light body than anything about the avatar part of us, that part. And I don't know how that happens. You know, I mean, there's times when I see it and stuff that I think, well, essentially, are we all going to just die? But it's not like death. It's because we realize that we're not dead. Like we're alive. Nothing can kill us. So I don't know if it's something like that, like a mass amount of people, and that we're like, we're not dead. And I mean, and I think that is important too, for this information to come out about brain dead, like when we can really start understanding, even if you are knocked for a loop, you aren't dead. You can still pull back in. God give your body some time to heal. That's going to be the great thing about these med beds, is that the frequency is so high, it can change all of our cells and make us healthy. And then our environment is supposed to go to a healthy environment, so we're not, we wouldn't need to go in the med bed every day to just maintain, because that's what we would need now, is just a constant, because they have the vibration and the chemicals and everything so low of to keep us sick. And I think it is more not low. I think the low vibration is more, to me, when I listen to it, it feels more healing and hypnotic. The high-pitched ones feel more like, ooh, nail scratching. That's what I feel like that they are using, is some kind of a high pitch, like sound, a frequency. And then on top of it, whatever with this microwave frequency, which a lot of people are saying that whenever this happens, this thing that they're going to do, which I don't know, a lot of people think on 10/4, but to me, they could do this right now. Why would they give us the date? Why would they tell us? The only time that they would tell us is because they want us to focus on, so we're all doing this being scared, and put out all of that luge or whatever, that energy out to feed the universe off of fear. So, I mean, there's a point, there's a purpose to it. And, but you get to decide for yourself, are you going to feed the universe fear, or are you going to work on yourself? Yeah, to me, I would rather work on myself. But then, if I find myself feeding the universe with fear, then it's just something to be aware of. I'm not going to be mad at myself and be like, oh, you stupid ass bitch, I can't believe you got scared, you're low vibration now and stuff. It's like, this spiritual community is so intense. It's insane. It's so divisive. It's so hierarchy. All of that stuff is 3D paradigm of this reality. You can see how they just took all of this toxic shit and drug it into their new belief system. But all of that has to shift. All of it has to, they have to see the truth. Everybody's going to get to see the truth. I wish it would hurry and come. Like, I really want to see my truth. I keep trying to analyze it my own self. Like, I'll listen to these other people and I'll think, oh my God, am I coming across like this? Am I saying this kind of nonsense? It's all in the receiver. It's all in, the receiver, how they perceive it. Like, I can listen to some of these people and hear it's nonsense, but other people who don't know, it can sound like complete rational, makes sense to them. So it's, but that is where, you got to learn about your own discernment, learn to listen to your internal guidance, because your internal guidance, it's like all those things that happen, your internal guidance will tell you, will explain. See right there where it's like splitting. I feel like that this hair is all falling out, and it's got to be the phone. I can't see it good. So I thought all this hair was growing in, but now I'm like, is it growing in or is it falling out? Because that split thing. But yesterday my hair was so, oh my God, I couldn't take it. It was like waxy, coating, drippy all the way to the ends. And it was like, oh my gosh, what in the hell? I'm going to have to wash this. Is this, is it just sprung a leak? Is it because it's environmental? Like, I'm just trying to learn all this stuff. And, I mean, I know back throughout time and history, they didn't have stores and shampoo and stuff. And who knows if they even felt like they ever needed to clean their hair. If it was, I'm sure throughout different times, it was always different. Yesterday, I watched that movie, Mary Shelley, which I really like that movie, but she, and it was like 1800s, I think, and the hair thing, and I had just been talking about that, and it said that she had the hair up, and it has these braids and stuff. See, I think that they used to be able to do good hairstyles because your hair would hold it because it's like this waxy coating, and so, but you would keep it up and stuff because when it's down, I swear to God, it's like drippy and sticky. It's very waxy. It's not oily. It's very waxy, and or like a mucosa or something, So, anyways, I decided I was going to take a shower and I was going to wash it. So I sprayed the vinegar mix on it, which I have that as, I think, rosemary, cloves, and apple cider vinegar. So I sprayed that on it, and then I went in to take a shower. And then when I rinsed it, I was like, oh, it just still feels so coated. So I had some shampoo bars, and I don't know the whole makeup thing. So I don't think I don't know. It could be some chemicals. But anyways, so however long it's been that I washed it, but it feels so clean, and it feels so good. I don't know how long it's going to last. I don't know if I'm going to get a big reverberation or something, if it's just going to start spilling out all over my head again. Or if I'm going to be, start trying to pick up on like, okay, so when I just do the vinegar, if I use the clay shampoo stuff, it just pulls all the moisture out, which is really sucky on if you have long hair. And so the clay stuff doesn't work. I saw where there's some other more with the shampoo bars, but there's some that is all natural rice water and stuff. So I'm going to keep trying some more of those if this works. I don't know. I just got to see. Right now, I'm really liking it. And so I'll just see, what's next. It's like an adventure. But definitely not being on my phone yesterday, I definitely don't feel like feels like the same kind of burns. So I'm going to try that more and see if the hair starts growing, because I think that our phones are blasting us, which, if it's blasting our hair to fall out, then it's got to be blasting, I know it's making us blind, but I think there's going to be more eye cancers, more cancers all up in here from these things. And so, I don't know, it's probably already started. It's probably already got people in there going and getting parts of their faces cut off and shit. To me, it's just got to constantly be detoxing and healing and using your mind to heal. And, using your mind to heal, because you got to keep remembering that this is an illusion. This isn't real. They're attacking an illusion, but your mind gets so caught up in thinking it's real that you make it really happen. So it's that spiritual part of it where you have to see the truth and keep convincing yourself, like, this isn't real. This isn't real. I'm trying to convince myself that my implants are just melting away, that they're not there really. They're gone. I'm back to my old flat-chested self, and I'm happy about it. So I keep trying to work on that. But, it's all in how we see things. And that's why they get us to try and see things the way they want us to see things. Because seeing is believing. Seeing is the manifestation. And the manifestation, it's weird because some of the things, where it'll be my own stuff will start coming into my head. And I just know for me, on this big manifestation part, where people start saying about jumping timelines and stuff, where it's like this dramatic change in your life to go from being, one way into going and being this. And then going and doing this, it's like you get a whole nother side of yourself. You get to see a side of yourself you've never seen before. So it's like a whole new timeline. It's a whole new, a whole new experience to go through. So that is like your timeline jump. But see, they've directed me through all of this. They've told me the whole time. So that is, to me, when people sit there and say like about manifesting and stuff, it's like, but you guys are just coming up with this 3D idea of what you think it is. Because it is, you listen to your guides, they direct you on your path, you do the things they say, you build trust, you build faith. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing on your growth. So you go towards the direction they take you. That is working towards your manifesting what it is, but it isn't your thing that you just all of a sudden like, you know, I like that guy's life, I'm going to manifest that life, so I'm going to just start doing that. It isn't. It is when you're listening to your guides and they tell you what to do and you go do it. And then you are going towards what they're telling you that you're manifesting. They'll tell you, this is what you're manifesting. This is what you're moving towards. This is how you get there. This is what you do. This is what we want you to do to get there. And so you start doing that. Then you're following your guidance towards your manifestation. So it's not the same as, you know, it's very different. Like how they're telling people is different. They're just misleading people. But once you start doing this stuff, you'll see for yourself. Like once you start pursuing it, like I think there's tons of people who are sitting there trying to manifest, you know, $10,000 in their pocketbook this week and manifest true love and manifest this and that and stuff. And, you know, it goes along with this whole thing of don't worry about everything going on. God's got it. God's taking care of it. You've got no worries. It's like that's so misleading. You know, it's not like you have worries, but you need to be participating in your life. You need to be taking care of the things that bother you. You need to be healing the things that you need to heal. You don't just sit back and like, okay, well, God's got it. There's no savior. You know, if you have to go through this whole life to learn that and figure it out, then, you know, that's what you have to do. But there is not, this is you learning to save yourself. This is you learning to make the decisions and control yourself, to follow your guidance towards the manifestation. Even if the manifestation that they tell you you're going towards seems like wacky. Like, that's the thing that gets me, is where would I have even come up with this? Like, how would I have even come up with this? No, no way would I have sat there. You know, I was definitely not somebody who was like, well, everybody's getting famous off YouTube, so I'm just going to go do YouTube because I'm just going to go out there and just get famous. And no, my guides were telling me about that they wanted me to go on there and talk. It was very uncomfortable. It was hard. It was a part of my growth. It was a part of my opening my throat chakra, which I didn't even know about all this stuff before. And it was an important part of me coming into me. But it's a part of my roadmap. It's a part of my growth. It's part of what I'm here to experience. And so the things that they tell me to do, you know, I go and do them. And, you know, they'll tell me what is to come. And, I got to watch and see this confirmation. I've got to watch and just see how things play out. But they're constantly showing me all this different stuff. To me, it's like you need to trust your guides and not chase something else. Like your guides will tell you what you're here for, what you're here to experience, what you're here to do, how the things in your life have led you to the time that you're at. So that to me is about this moving into your timeline of you loving you and you going into your best timeline, where people are your best timeline. You know, your best timeline is the one where you are working towards being your best self and you are in contact with your guides and they are directing you and helping you to get there. And so, anyways, there was something else because of the, well, I just know my mind. Like, I wouldn't have come up with it my own self. Like, I wouldn't have ever even thought of it. It was just as so, to me, it's definitely the guides telling me what to do. It's not me just coming up with this, well, I'm just going to manifest something. What could I manifest? I think I'm going to manifest that. I'm just going to make this happen. That's not what I'm experiencing at all. So that's why I can tell you, if there's other ways of doing things, to just sit and frustrate yourself trying to manifest, money to be in your account and stuff like that, you're going to find yourself frustrated. It's not about that, So anyways, it is all a part of each person's journey. And so whatever ways that they have to go through it to experience it to get there is your experience to get there. It's how you are getting to where you're going. And so, and to me and mine, so when everything starts flipping, there's going to be where things are going to start getting way better. I mean, we're going to see ourselves, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to see. I don't know, am I going to see I'm, leading people wrong? I don't know, we'll all see. And so then, but things are going to go in a very different direction. It's going to go in a very different direction where it's going to be so much more positive influence. But there's going to be so many people stuck in that cloud, stuck in that dark energy, and they've got to walk out of it. They got to pull themselves free of it. Everybody has to do it. And everybody has different things that they're stuck and trapped in. Different groups, different friend groups, different relationships, some people's parents. Everybody's got somebody who's influencing them to not be themselves. And this is, a part of everybody's seeing the truth, of the other people. Everybody's truth will be revealed to them. But that's a part of the experience, a part of the learning, a part of the shift from dark to light. So you get to see you get the accuracy. You get to is to see the truth of where you've been putting your energy, Because like I've said, there's so many people putting their energy into the dark and they don't know it because of the allure, because of the what they get back, that patting on your back. Yeah, you're so smart. You're so good. You're so great. And they don't realize that they're stuck in ego. But that is a part of their experience. We're just witnessing a lot of different experiences. We're witnessing a lot of different ways of waking up and coming into realization. But anyways, so when this all goes down, that is going to be the great awakening. That is going to be where it's going to be mass awakening. Like people think like this has all been, no, this is just a lead in. This is like the people who woke up on this side of it. It was for all these experiences. So you get to see your judgmental side. You get to see your hateful side. You get to see those sides of yourself on this side because of how you judge others and look at others and this chosen and all that stuff. So the people get to see this side of themselves. Then when it switches, there's a whole nother side. There's all these other people where they're going to have another side of themselves to see. So everybody's going to see these other sides of themselves. But that is the thing, is these people think that they're so awake, but they just haven't seen this nasty side of themselves yet, this judgmental, hateful side. But this is going to be the great awakening. This is going to be when it all is just like, boom, that part. The lights come on, you're at the party and whatever, maybe you're not even dressed anymore. It's going to be very exposing. It's going to be very revealing. But it's going to be very important. There's just so many people who have such a hard time facing themselves that it's going to be a big time of suicide, mass suicide, because of that part. But we got to just keep remembering is that they're not really leaving. They're leaving the game, and they were always going to. They couldn't leave it unless that's how they were going to leave it. Like, there's lots of people who try and leave and they don't get out. You can't leave unless you're supposed to. So all the people who leave, no matter how they leave, they were supposed to leave at that time. And so don't, you know, it's hard, but just try and work on not getting all upset and down about it. But that is a challenge, but, and if you do get upset and down, it's your process. You're supposed to go through that. It could be stuff from past lives too that you are going through. Somebody from a past life that is very impactful, and you feel this death on such a deep level and you don't even know why. And all these different things. I think those QHHTs or those BHQs or any of those kind of healing hypnosis modality things, I think really help you, because you leave the part of you that's overthinking and you go into the deeper mind to get your answers. Because the part of you that's overthinking is the part that's hard to get through. That's the part where I think most people are trapped in that part, and they don't know how to get to the higher mind. And you got to go through all of that noise, and you got to start recognizing who's the noisiest at the party. You start recognizing the different voices, the different characters at play. And once you can get through those, then you can get into the higher mind. But those ones will trick you. Those are the tricksters. They'll trick you and make you think that you are, in the higher mind, you're intelligent, you are making good choices for yourself. But it's all choices that benefit them. It won't benefit you in the long run. So anyways, oh my gosh, I've been talking a really long time. I swear to God, I thought I just looked like an hour and 14 minutes. And then I was like, oh man, that's not very long. And now I look, it's 2 hours and 16 minutes. So anyways, I probably have talked about enough stuff today. Let's see, did I even finish? I don't even know if I finished all the things. I swear to God, it was completely different things that I thought I was going to be talking about. I just never know. I never know. It's weird. It's like all of a sudden just this information just opens up, and it's like, oh, okay. I didn't even, but it's always stuff that really, it just helps me to see things more, and so hopefully I'm helping other people see more. But, I really do believe, it's up to you to decide what you believe. But I really do believe that you can heal your traumas. You can heal yourself. You can be more aware of yourself, and to stop your toxic behaviors and become more mindful and become the person you want to be. Is moving out of the person that was created from all of the toxicity of this world and become the person you want to be. That's completely, you can do that. It is work. You do have to be more mindful, and you have to not be hard on yourself. Treat yourself like you would anybody who's trying to learn. If you were the tutor, you wouldn't sit there and bash on them. You'd be gentle with them. So treat yourself the same way as you're going through all of these different experiences of trying to understand yourself and to feel yourself and to feel your environment and to get yourself into a healthy position in your mind, because it's a process, and it's all in the gray. It's all in you having to figure it out and balance. It's checks and balances. It's you is this steering through life, and you maneuvering through the gray matter, through the balancing. Well, it can be a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different ways to look at it. And the more the ways you can look at it, the more it's going to help you to be true to yourself. So you don't have yourself in these messes where there's going to be a lot of people who are going to feel so shame and so much dirtiness because they were cut off from themselves. So the more you tune into yourself, the more you participate as a player, the more you let your soul be the driver, the more you're going to feel better. You're just going to feel better. You're not going to feel this anger and, just the whole thing with chasing destiny, trying to control destiny. Like, what a frustrating life. I mean, that is going to be a huge impact for people to just realize, oh, fuck. I mean, it's destiny. I mean, I don't have, like, it's going to happen the way it's going to happen. There's nothing I can do except frustrate myself by trying to force it to not happen. And I can feel better if I kind of tune in to kind of show me what's happening. So, anyways, it's everybody's journey to themselves. And, there's a lot of people out there who are saying a lot of things, but it's up to each person to find their truth, to find what's real for them. So, and there's a lot of information, like, and we are all from different places. Like, there's different people talking to different people in different languages, and we don't even realize, because it sounds like they're using the words, but it's the messaging. It's the messaging that we pick up on. It doesn't have to do with the words. The words is the messaging. That's why they all talk in like pictures and stuff. You pick up on the message. You pick up on the truth through to me it's like through images. But anyways, I'm just keep talking, but today, so I don't think I'm gonna cook all day. Jeez, I can't eat all this stuff that I keep cooking. So, I cooked a lot yesterday. Maybe today I'm so sore. Maybe I'll do some crocheting. I'm almost done with those couple of things. I should start painting again. It's hard to find, a lot of drive or motivation to do very much. It's like, oh, part of me just wants to sleep, or I feel like I'm sleeping like so much. I can't believe it. I think I went to bed like at 6 o'clock last night. I don't know, maybe it was later. It's just like, I just am so tired, and lay down and I'll just be like asleep in 2 seconds. So I'll lay like, oh, I'll just watch this movie. I'll just lay, stretch my legs out. Then I'll be asleep in 2 seconds. And I'm getting woke up and it's like 10:30 or no, I think it was like 8:30. And then, but I got up like 3:30. Maybe it was 3:15. I don't know. Maybe it was 3, because when I started this, it was 3:32. So it was, I had already been up and drank some tea and stuff. So I don't know. I think it was like 3 when I got up. But anyways, but I feel like I could just go to sleep. And I slept at other times through the day. I always feel exhausted. And I don't know if it is that they are drugging us. I don't know if this energetic changing is just draining. I don't know. I just know I'm exhausted and I'm having a hard time of motivating myself to do some things. So anyways, we'll just see how this day goes. But anyways, I don't know. Maybe I've just said the same thing that I say every day, but hopefully I said something that helps somebody. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.